Hey everyone, UiPath stock investors are not having a good time in 2024 as the stock price has fallen all the way to $11.38 as of this recording, down from over $25 per share at one time in February. But where could the stock price be by the end of 2024? That's the question I'll address in this video here. I'll include where I'm getting my estimates and my assumptions to make this stock price prediction for UiPath in 2024. And I'll share with you my base case estimate for where I think UiPath's stock price will end up. So let's take a look at the factors. All right, so one of the numbers I'm going to use to make this stock price prediction is the current stock price. It's currently trading at $11.38, and as I shared with you, it's down meaningfully off its highs to begin the year. UiPath stock price took a big dip lower following the company's latest earnings release, where the previous CEO abruptly resigned. And there's been questions alluding to whether it was actually a resignation or was that previous CEO forced out by the founder who retook the reins as CEO once again. Now, the new CEO also, when they came in, UiPath updated and lowered their profit guidance for the rest of this year, slashing their operating income forecast by half for 2024. And you can see the big stock price crash following those announcements from $20 per share all the way down to around $13 per share. And the stock price has drifted lower ever since that moment. Now, after those earnings results came out, I reiterated my recommendation for UiPath stock. I currently have UiPath stock rated as one of my top 24 stocks to buy right now, and one of the factors is because of the lower valuation. And that's another factor I'm going to use to make my stock price prediction. UiPath stock is currently trading at a forward price to earnings of 25.65. It's the lowest this stock has traded for all year, according to this metric. Again, the reasons for this decline are the same ones I mentioned earlier: the abrupt resignation of the previous CEO, and then the slashing of the operating profit guidance by half. And did I mention that the initial operating income forecast for 2024 was made just 3 months prior? So in a matter of 3 months, the company downgraded or slashed the operating income guidance for the year. Now, that's partly due to a new CEO as well. That previous forecast was likely made by the previous CEO, and then the new forecast, the updated forecast, was made by the new CEO. So they could have different methods for forecasting their income for 2024. They could have different ideology. One might be conservative in making the forecast, one might be aggressive in making the forecast. So those also played a role in the change in operating income forecast, because typically you don't see a large change like that, slashing by half of operating income forecast for a year in as little as 3 months, unless there was a big change in the marketplace, in the industry, which there wasn't. There wasn't a big change in the industry. It was company specific, and the company highlighted that one of the reasons was because they were expecting a large contract to close during the quarter, but it didn't end up closing, or it did close, but it closed on a much smaller size than they had initially expected. So that brought down the expectations for the rest of the year. Now, another factor I'm going to use is Wall Street analyst forecast for earnings per share for the next fiscal year. Now, UiPath is one of those confusing companies that has a fiscal year that's different than the calendar year. You can see their earnings per share here. Current year, it says 2025. And that's because of the fact I mentioned earlier. UiPath's fiscal year is different than the calendar year. Companies are allowed to do that. It's within the rules to report fiscal year different from calendar year. But you'll notice here the big decrease in expectations, right? For the current year, earnings per share expectations dropped by 20 cents following the company's announcement. right? So roughly 1/3 decrease in earnings per share for 2025, the current year, and by 25 cents for the next year, 2026. So more than 33% decrease for 2026 expectations in earnings per share. Previous to the earnings announcement, analysts on Wall Street were expecting 67 cents in earnings per share for their next fiscal year. They've now dropped that to 42 cents in earnings per share for 2026. Okay. Hey everyone, I wanted to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video. Moomoo is a trading platform that allows individuals to buy and sell stocks and other investments. I posted the link to Moomoo in the description below. If you use that link to sign up to Moomoo, it'll help support my channel, but more importantly, you can get special incentives for using my link, including up to extra 10 free stocks. So now that we have all our elements to make the stock price prediction, let's go to my model for predicting UiPath stock price. So if its earnings per share are on pace to come in at 42 cents per share for the next fiscal year, that would mean 42 cents per share. And if the forward price to earnings stays at 25.65 as where it is today, then UiPath stock price could be $10.77 by the end of this year. Now that would be a further decrease from where it's currently trading out, and that's a scenario that I feel is less likely, as evidenced by my recommendation of UiPath stock as one of my top 24 stocks to buy. Clearly, if I'm ranking it as a top stock to buy, I don't expect the stock price to go down from where it's currently trading. Now, more likely, I think the stock price will move higher. If the forward PE were to increase to 30, the stock price could rise to $12.60. If the forward PE were to rise to 35, the stock price could rise to $14.70. But these are volatile times. We don't know everything that's happened since the abrupt departure of the previous CEO. If the chaos worsens at UiPath, then the forward PE multiple will likely decline, and the downside could go all the way to $7.56 if the forward PE multiple were to decrease to 18. Now, I also don't think that scenario is very likely either, given the company's trajectory and the success it had up till this point. I think the company will gain its footing, regain its footing, and resolve issues over the next, I would say, 6 to 9 months, I feel is enough time. And given that the current CEO is the founder of the company, who was a CEO prior to hiring this CEO that left. So it's the founder that's retaking the CEO role. So given the founder is familiar with the company, I don't think it's going to take the founder that long to get acclimated with the business, with the CEO role, because it's the founder, right? The founder has stayed as a part of the company this entire time. So that being said, where do I think is the most likely stock price for UiPath by the end of this year? I think there's going to be a combination of a rising forward PE multiple and rising EPS expectations for next year as the founder comes in and really takes control of the situation. I don't think the EPS expectations and the forward PE are going to rise, exponentially. I think there's going to be minor, slight increases. So if I was to say where the stock price could end up by the end of the year, I think it'll be between the range of $12.75 and $13.25 per share. And so that leaves a upside from the current share price of $11.38 per share. Now, of course, things could go much worse than expected and things could go much better than expected. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. I'm just using the data that's available to me to make these forecasts for stocks where I think they'll end up by a certain point in time. So take it with a grain of salt. And before I let you go, remember, don't forget to take advantage of those free 15 shares from moomoo.com. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time and a lot of other videos you could be watching. So I truly appreciate that you chose to watch this one. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe or the like button. They'll both help me make more videos just like this one. Thank you again.